Hello friends and subscribers, welcome back to Readings in Impact Investing. My name's Daniel Rosehill. I created this podcast because I thought it would be a great idea if important source material in the field of impact investing, ESG, sustainable finance and development finance, such as reports, were also available in audio format. This way I thought people could listen to it at the gym, while they're driving, or doing whatever you might be doing while you're listening to audio. I didn't set this podcast up to make money, it is a strictly non-profit initiative. However, because I do incur some operating costs in the process of making this available, I have created a donations link which is available at readingsiниmpact.org. Any donations received will be used to defray the operating costs of hosting this podcast and associated costs, and as soon as the annual budget is reached, I'll simply make the link inactive. I wanted to state the licensing terms under which this podcast is created simply because this podcast is intended as a public good to take material that I think is in the public good about how sustainable finance can help make the world a more sustainable, better place. Therefore, I thought it would be important to make it as easy as possible for other people to reproduce this podcast, link to it, or embed it on their websites. All the episodes are licensed under the following Creative Commons license: CC by NC SA 4.0 deed. And in full, that's Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share Alike 4.0 International. And here's what this means in simple terms. The first freedom granted is the freedom to share. If you're writing a blog post about a topic that I've covered in an episode of this podcast through a report, please absolutely feel free to embed that podcast episode. You can do this by looking under the share button text on Spreaker or any podcasting app and embed it into your CMS or website. The next freedom granted is the freedom for adaptation. You're free to remix, transform, and build upon this material. Some of the reports are pretty long, so I think it makes sense a lot of people might want to cut out specific segments and remix them into new audio files or etc. And if you want to do that, please go ahead. The following terms apply, however. The first term is attribution. You must give appropriate credit, provide a link to the license, and indicate if changes were made. So basically, just please say that this file was generated by Readings in Impact Investing. It will help people to know about this project and consider perhaps sending on report material for me to read in another episode. The second term is the non-commercial term. You may not use the material for commercial purposes. This podcast, as mentioned, is a non-profit activity, and I think it's only fair that other people who are trying to share the material here will also agree to use it in a non-commercial way. The final term is share alike. This means that if you remix, transform, or build upon this material, you must distribute your contributions under the same license as the original. So if you're going to cut out some of my episode to make a new podcast episode out of it or a new audio file, then you're going to have to use the same license, CC by NC SA 4.0. And this term is just intended to prevent the possibility that people will do something to change the episode and then decide to sell that or use it for commercial gain. All this is intended to protect the object of the podcast, which is taking this material, aggregating it from across the internet, and sharing it for the benefit of people working in these fields, not for anybody to make money from doing so. I hope this short walkthrough of the Creative Commons licensing terms this podcast is licensed under has made clear how you can use this podcast and distribute it to help share the message of impact investing with as many people as possible. Please absolutely consider embedding the episodes on your website or linking back to readingsiниmpact.org. It all helps to drive awareness of this initiative and will help the podcast grow as I continue to record and upload episodes during 2024. This has been Daniel Rosehill. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Thank you so much if you choose to support the podcast through embedding or sharing us. I'm wishing everybody a great day.